What's going on, guys? Jesse Burrell, CEO of BatchService, and we just did another monthly webinar that was absolutely epic. I had Scott Oots on the channel. We talked about his 4 best lead generating tactics. Make sure to watch this video all the way through. We have a huge announcement at the end. We're going to get started. For those that are already here, we will get started in about 4 minutes. And then Scott, thank you again for coming on. I know you're a very busy man.
Thanks for having me. Always make time for you.
Is that a new set? That looks incredible.
Yeah, we just moved offices, so it's the same one we had. I think last time you and I talked, it might have been different. So we've had it about a year.
Nice. That's awesome. Scott's going to be dropping some gems today. Dude did over $6 million in real estate sales last year, which is incredible. So again, congratulations to all your success. But let's get this webinar started. So excited to host another monthly batch webinar. These are so fun. I get to bring on some of the biggest players in the wholesaling and real estate industry, which is super fun. Today, my guest is Scott Oots. I'll introduce him in just a second. For you guys that don't know me, I am the CEO of Batch and all of our products. Been in real estate investing since 2014. About 2 years ago, became more of a passive investor because our goal is to help you guys have all the tools to succeed. So I'm not active in real estate investing. We buy some multifamily and some commercial buildings a little bit that we get through wholesalers every now and again. But that's why I bring people like Scott on. So Scott, please, we're going to talk about some tactics you have. Introduce yourself to the audience real quick.
So I'm Scott Oots. I am based out of Southern California. I see a couple SoCal people popping in here as well. My business is mainly based out of Southern California. We also do Dallas, Texas, or really what other states just happen to come our way. Primarily wholesaling is our acquisition and disposition strategies. Did just a little over $6 million last year with a team of probably about 9 people. So we've got some exciting things we've been doing, but excited to share with you guys what I can and hopefully help you guys get to the next level.
Yeah, and for you guys that don't know Scott, the first time I really got introduced to him, he was actually speaking on stage at Max Maxwell's event. So I was like, man, who is this guy? He's like the one white dude that's speaking at the whole entire seminar. And I was like, I didn't really get to know him too much then, but I just had started Batch, and we basically went there without a sponsorship and just started telling people about batch skip tracing. But I believe you were the host at that event, correct?
Yeah, I was. I remember you guys because you guys had specific T-shirts on that you were wearing around, and it caused quite the stir. So I remember that. I remember seeing you guys there. You guys stood out for sure.
Yeah, I was about 60 pounds heavier, so I had that big wide shirt on, able to really show off batch skip tracing. But on a real note, guys, I'm going to recap what we're going to talk about. We're really going to go through, and Scott has some gems to give you. Once we're through with that, we'll take some Q&A, so please ask us any questions that you have. We're going to really dive into his 4 lead generating strategies. We're going to talk about cold calling, direct mail, pay-per-click, and he's even doing television. So I'm really excited. So for the people that are on budgets and don't have bigger marketing budgets, cold calling is definitely the way to go. So let's talk about cold calling. Let's have you dive into it. How do you implement cold calling into your business? What are your systems and processes? I really want you to give as much as you can for value here.
Absolutely. When we look at all marketing strategies, as you pull a list and you get ready to start reaching out to people, the first thing you're going to do with that list is you're going to go out and skip trace it, right? So you're going to take that list, you're going to run it through batch, you're going to skip trace that. And then a lot of people take that data and they go just one strategy, right? They might go text or they might go cold calling. The way I've always done things, I'm going to pay to get that data. I'm going to use it every way possible. So cold calling is definitely one of the strategies we're going to push that into. We take every bit of data we can get. We take multiple phone numbers per person. We're going to upload it so my cold callers have everything at their fingertips. And we are going to call every single number known for that person. So potentially you'll get up to 10 phone numbers. We're typically going to try to call the first 3 first, and then we're going to start expanding out phone number 4, 5, 6, and we're going to keep going from there. The first ones tend to be most accurate. But the thing I'm going to caution you guys with cold calling is not typically 2 dials and you're going to get a deal. Cold calling is a numbers game, and cold calling requires a lot more follow-up. So when you start reaching out to people, you're dialing. Typically, you're going to find you're getting people on the phone during that dinner time. You know, that they happen to be available. You're now that so-called salesman calling during dinner time. And as you're calling these more elderly people, you're going to get some pushback around that time as well. But if you continue the follow up with these people, you will start getting deals. But you're typically not going to see, you know, a $200,000 return in the first 2 to 3 days. And that's what we see with a lot of our cold call clients. Is our cold call clients say, "Oh, it's been 30 days. I haven't got anything. I need to cancel." Well, the clients that stick it out 60 days, 90 days, those are the ones that start seeing a huge return. And we've seen it in our own business as well. It just takes more follow-up. It takes more follow-up calls. It takes more nurturing. It takes, you know, taking notes in your system and making sure that, sorry, my lights here, making sure that you're continuously following up with people. That's going to be the most important thing when it comes to cold calling. And, you know, we'll also take people we've talked to and text them. "Hey, Bob, I just want to follow up with you. We talked last week. Haven't been able to get in touch with you. When's a good time to reach out?" You can also try pullback text messages with them as well. "Hey, Bob, did I do something to offend you? I know we had a great conversation last week about your property. I could stop reaching out to you if you'd like," something like that. So when you start with one marketing method, doesn't necessarily mean that that is the marketing method that you're going to end with to get the deal. So you may start with cold calling, but actually finish it off on a text. So we want to try different things. We'll do retargeting online. Basically, we use every data every single way possible. That person is getting mail from us. They're going to get retargeted online. They're going to be reached out through a Facebook Messenger. We're going to be cold calling. We're going to try everything we can do. We'll send them a nice direct mail piece. When you look at marketing, you know, everyone says we're the real estate business. We're not really the real estate business. We're a lead generation business. We are a marketing business. Just so happens our end result is getting properties. So when we start thinking of ourselves as lead generators, we want to make sure we're getting the best return possible. And that's what's going to help us get there. Now, cold calling, one thing that I will say is a lot of people look at a downside is, you know, we're trying to buy 50% of value, 60% of value on some of these houses. And the majority of the leads you're going to get back to start are going to be people that want retail. And the biggest mistake I've seen people make is they take those leads and say it's not a deal and they throw it away. They don't
Right.
look at a creative deal like a sub 2. They don't look at one of the most important things, realtor referrals. Sell these to realtors in your area. You
Right.
should 5 times over just by selling these leads to local realtors.
Yeah.
And if you do that, you're going to start seeing a significant return just right there. Then as you start closing deals, that's like icing on top, right? You should be able to bring in 6 figures every single month with cold calling, being able to outsource the realtor, being able to look at those creative deals and closing those wholesale deals yourself.
Right. And then obviously owning, Batch Dialer, I'm able to talk to a lot of customers and clients, and the people that have success is it's going to take 60 to 90 days. And people think it's going to happen quickly, and a lot of that has variables. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you get unlucky. Especially if you're newer, are you good at actually closing a deal? You may actually be getting the leads that you need to be getting, but you just haven't sharpened that skill set quite yet. But the rule of thumb with each person that's dialing, if you're dialing a 6 to 8 hour session, honestly, you're going to get 1 to 2 decent prospects a day. And that's not hot leads. That's just someone raising their hand saying, "Hey, I'm interested in more of what you have to say." And the more consistent you are with that, the more of a pipeline you're going to build. But people that get started, I hate to tell you, but most of you aren't going to get a deal in 30 days. There's a lot of resilience at your career when you're starting your career in real estate investing, and you have to stick to the plan. You have to get better. There's a lot of education out there for free now, but stick to the plan, learn, get better, learn from your mistakes. If you absolutely butchered closing a deal, okay, what lessons did I get? Go to a mentor. See, how could I have done this differently so you don't do it again next time? But It's cold calling is a numbers game, but it's a very lucrative game. And once you get it down, it's really just knowing and having a streamlined process. And then it's just how much more money can I put in there? And then you're going to get to attrition rate per market. And then that's when you start adding virtual markets to where you could keep building and growing, your monthly deals.
That's exactly it. When you look at, systems and processes become the most important thing, because you don't want to call a bad list. You don't want to use a bad skip trace company. You want to make sure you're using the right systems, because there are a lot of skip trace companies out there that advertise 2 to 3 cents. But ultimately, what are you doing with that? You're going with a low end skip trace company that has less of a hit rate, less accuracy, and you're dialing all these numbers and wasting all your time. So make sure you actually use good systems. That's why I use Batch for all my stuff. All of my cold calling company, we used a previous dialer. We actually just switched all of our clients over to Batch because we realized our connect rate was so much better. We have a few clients that are still on the older one that are switching over. And let me tell you, everyone that switched over, our complaints on dialers stopped the minute it switched over to Batch too. So the thing is you've got a lot of choices out there on what you guys want to do. And I'm not just saying this because I'm on with Batch right now. I mean, ultimately for me, I only really go on to talk about companies I believe in and I currently use. And, Batch skip tracing, Batch dialer, we're using Batch for texting as well. That's what we use. And we're using Batch all over the place. And I've used previous texting softwares, 2 different ones. And I'll tell you guys now that when it comes down to even cost, let's say Batch happens to be a little bit higher price. I don't really know how you guys compare. But I mean, if they happen to be a little higher price, but you're getting more connect rate, you're actually getting more deals out of it because the software is set up properly. Batch is so far ahead of the other companies that we've used that we are seeing such a large return being over there that I'm willing to pay more for it. Now, don't raise the price on me, but I'm willing to pay more for it because I'm able to get a higher return. So when you guys
Yeah.
are cold calling, definitely use that dialer for sure.
And then I don't really want this webinar is not meant to be a plug for Batch, but there's one question: what makes Batch a more accurate skip tracer? So we actually aggregate and pull from multiple different data providers. We have our own backend proprietary stuff that we do on how we clean the data, how we get rid of bad phone numbers, and all these different things. I'm not really able to go into all the things that we do, but we spend a lot of time on development. Most skip tracers are coming from one vendor, or they're white labeling something and reselling it to the consumer. You guys, we actually have a process of how we do it. And there's a reason why we've been known as being the best, is we're continually finding ways to innovate, to provide you guys the most accurate data. I mean, that's our goal with all the products we do and the skip tracing we do, is we are not stopping. We keep building, building, and building. And my goal is to give you guys the best tools available to get the most deals. Like, that's literally our mission statement, is to help folks get more deals. It's that simple. But let's move on to the next one. The next 3 things really have nothing to do with Batch. So we could get into direct mail. A lot of people saying direct mail is dead, and you do need a budget for this. But at the same time, if you could do it properly, there could be fruits to that labor as well.
Absolutely. And we send a lot of direct mail. So direct mail was 70% of our revenue last year. And I'll tell you guys, we definitely put a lot of paper in the landfill, because I mean, when you really look at a response rate in Southern California, a response rate for direct mail is less than 1/4%. I'll say that again. So direct mail response rate is less than 1/4%. So when we look at what we're sending, a lot of it's being thrown away. But with that response rate, that very, very small response rate, it was 70% of our revenue last year. Now, the thing about direct mail is consistency. I've seen so many people as I go to masterminds and speak there, and I think Mike mentioned Sean Terry's event I spoke at. When we look at that, a lot of people say direct mail didn't work. And the first thing I ask them is, what did you do? They said, well, I sent a list of about 1,000. Okay, great. How many times did you mail it? Well, I didn't get a response, so I didn't mail it again. Well, direct mail is consistency. You have to be consistent. So I'll just lay out how direct mail kind of works, right? So we'll drop it, direct mail will hit, and typically the first people that are going to call us are those people that are just sitting in their house, looking through the kitchen window, waiting for that mailman to come. And these are the people that check their mail consistently at the same time every single day of their life. And the minute that mailman closes that mailbox, that person's already walking out to the curb to go get that mail. And that's the person that's looking through and going, oh, Domino's. Oh my gosh, I'm going to call them up. I'm definitely going to order some pizza. What? You want to buy my house? Oh, how dare you? And these are the people that are going to call us and say, how do you have the audacity to send me a postcard? And they're going to scream at us. Well, the first thing we're going to do is get those people off our list. We're going to apologize to them. We're going to ask them to be removed. We're going to get them off the list. A lot of people say, oh, I didn't remove them because they may want to sell in the future. These people are tying up your phone lines. These are the people that are going to actually lose it on you if they get another postcard. So get these people off your list. Have a do not mail list and make sure you check it every time. And then as you mail the second time, the third time, less and less of those people are calling in because you got them off the list. And now you're starting to pique the interest. We send the same postcard every time. We do not change it. It's consistency. People know when they get that postcard, it is ours. And people will call us off numbers that are a year old and say, hey, I've got like 10 of your postcards sitting here and I figured I might as well give you a call. And some of these people have just been putting stuff off for so long. These are the people that literally take our postcard, put a magnet on the fridge with a postcard, like, oh, I'm going to save that. And
Yeah.
I mean, these are the people you want. And these people are going to start calling you in, but it is going to take time. So we'll mail each list 6 to 8 times, but we're going to mail it every 4 to 6 weeks. Every 4 weeks for something that is a high priority, like a trustee sale. Every 6 weeks for something that's just like a blanket list. And I see the question about what we mail. It's typically just a Google Street View postcard. That's all we're mailing. We're not making it any special. I'm not making it pink or red or spraying perfume or cologne on it. I've seen people do some crazy things. Literally, it is printed, it is mailed, we get phone calls. That people try to complicate direct mail way too much in a lot of cases.
And then the other great thing too, and we should do a better job about this at Batch, but you could send direct mail through Batch Leads, which is a really good tool. It tracks for you. You could schedule campaigns. You could do all those things. So if you're getting started doing just a little bit, but you could get very, very niche, obviously, with our data management tool, it's a good way. But Scott said, just because you don't get any responses doesn't mean it's a commitment that you have to make. So think of cold calling, how we just mentioned 30, 60, 90 days to get a deal. This is even more of a patience game than that. You have to stick to a strategy and do it, because he's explaining to you here, it could take time. This, if you have a smaller budget, maybe do a little bit of niche stuff here and there for areas that are hot. But this is for people that have bigger budgets that are willing to take a longer time. Your cost per deal is going to be a lot more, but the deals I know from mailers are huge, like 6-figure huge.
Yeah, we definitely get some very large return from mail. So the thing is about mail is number one, don't spend every dollar you have in mail. I mean, don't get to that point, but set yourself a budget, pull yourself a list, and then plan on mailing that 6 to 8 times. Now, if you get into time 3, time 4, and you haven't gotten a response, you haven't even gotten the people calling and yelling at you, you probably have your phone number wrong. You probably have something like that. You mailed to the wrong address. You need to make sure that, double check your phone numbers. We sent out almost 30,000 mailers and we put the wrong phone number out. We put 1 digit wrong. There was a guy that had that phone number and he got blown up. I offered this person $5,000 cash if he gives me a copy of his phone record for those 30 days.
That's funny. And then a few people keep asking, will this be recorded? I know Scott's dropping gems. This will be sent back out for replay, and it will always also be on our YouTube channel, BatchTV, on Monday. So you guys could always go back and reference it there as well. Continue on, sir.
I see a question there from Jay. So phone numbers are actually one of the most important things when it comes to marketing. Remember, we're not a real estate company. We are a marketing company. Our goal is to generate leads. So we put different phone numbers on every different list we mail. So if we pull a trustee sale in Orange County, California, and that list happens to be 10,000 people, which it won't be, but if it happened to be, we're going to have a phone number for that list so we can track who calls us. I can track so granular in my system. We can see every single list we mailed, when we mailed it, how many calls came in, how many of those calls became a lead, how many of those leads became an opportunity, and how many of those opportunities became a contract. So I can truly track all my KPIs to see exactly what my return was on every single list in every single county. So if you're getting started, just use, you can use CallRail, you can anything to track numbers in. It doesn't really matter. Don't overthink it. It's just got to provide you the data and the ability to record calls. When you look at something like that, you're going to be able to see, you're going to see data that you didn't think was possible. When I first started, I actually thought my top marketing channel was a vacant list. It turned out it wasn't, but the data showed me that. So I was doubling down on it and mailing. I'm like, oh, this is so great because the house happened to be vacant. That didn't come from a vacant list. It came from somewhere else. Now all my tracking showed me that. So make sure you guys, KPI. So if you don't know what it is, key performance indicators.
So Scott, do you have like a KPI mailing sheet that maybe we could share with the audience or anything so they see what you're tracking and how you're tracking it?
My KPIs are all done in Salesforce automatically for me. So I don't have like a specific sheet.
Gotcha.
But I can provide you guys, when we get off this call, I can provide you a list of all the KPIs we do track if you want to share it with everybody.
Yeah, you just have to create the flows in whatever CRM that you're using. It's actually not that difficult. And then someone asked, is batch dialer call more than one number? Yeah, we do have a multi-line dialer. And then what kind of lists are you going after? That's a great question. I know you mentioned trustee sales and stuff. It's more niche stuff. I think you do both. You have your niche list and then you have your big generic list, I'm assuming.
Honestly, we actually switched over to more of a just bulk list because we realized we could pull the bulk list of pulling an entire county with an equity filter, and it includes a lot of the other ones as well. So we've been testing that because we go through so much data that for us, we're like, we just need as much as we can get. So we started pulling full counties.
But let's talk about someone that doesn't have the budget that Scott Oos has. So what would you recommend them to do? That has maybe 500 to a couple $1,000s a month, because they could niche down and have a better response rate. Or if they do get a hold of that person, they're gonna have a nice deal that they're gonna be able to wholesale, keep, flip, whatever they want to do with it.
I would definitely go for a list such as like a foreclosure list. And honestly, I wouldn't even go foreclosure. I'd go more trustee sale because they've already gotten to the point of no return. So if you do something like that, you have a very motivated list. You have people that are also getting blown up by multiple people at that point. So you have to get very creative on getting in touch with these people, door knock them, put a nice heartfelt letter on their doorstep. If you do something like that, you're going to see a return, but it's going to take some effort. If you do something like a pre-foreclosure list right now, here's the thing. I don't really believe in the pre-foreclosure list right now. And I haven't for the last year, because if you really think about it and you think of everyone that's been in mortgage forbearance, there's been a lot of people that have had the ability to pay their mortgages over the last year and a half, but they didn't have to. So they didn't. Why do you think everyone's buying TVs and cars and all this stuff? They haven't been paying their mortgage. So I wouldn't really go for like a pre-foreclosure list. I would go for more of a trustee sale list. You could try to do a vacant list if you wanted. Try something like that shows a bit of distress, divorce. You could just try to pull something that shows some type of filter of a distress, because that's going to be more motivating. For me, I just want as many leads as I can get in the system, because I'm going to look at, can I close on it and list it? Can I take it and give it to a realtor? I have so many different things I want to do with those.
Right.
But I have a larger budget, so I can do that.
Yeah, and that's where you could go into batch leads. We have all the filters, all the quick lists. You could stack your lists. Like, batch leads is great for a lot of things. You guys, we could text, we could skip trace. Honestly, being able to stack and manage your data, if you get really good at that, you're going to have a competitive advantage. That's how batch lead started. It started as batch lead stacker before we rebranded the name. That it was the heart and soul. When we were wholesaling, that was my biggest focus. And I know you know where all your data is, where it's going, what lists they're on. And if you don't have the budget to just mass mail like Scott does, these are the tools that you could use to get creative that we didn't have back then, to where you could really niche down and test a few different type of lists and get really, really granular and have some success with direct mail. It's out there, and we have all that stuff in one place for you guys.
I like Michelle's comment. Unfortunately, not everyone can door knock. There are Karens everywhere. So you're right. You're absolutely right. Door knocking, just like cold calling, is a numbers game. And you know what? Door knocking can actually give killer results. If you're looking for a very cheap marketing source where you can just get out and start doing this,
Oh, hell yeah.
start knocking on some doors. Because here's the thing, Jesse nailed it earlier when he said, at first you're going to waste a lot of leads. You just have a lot to learn. So get out there and get in front of people and get used to a door being slammed in your face, and realize that you've got probably 5 seconds from the point that person opens that door to have such an awesome sales pitch that this person does not want to close the door in your face. And that is difficult. But the thing about door knocking is there's a certain point where you can only knock on so many doors. You can start hiring teams. I know Pace Morby's got people doing door knocking teams out there, but at a certain point, you're going to have to add something else into your marketing that is going to touch more people, like the cold calling or direct mail or something like that.
Yeah, Scott, before we move on to, I want to get through all you're just dropping so many gems. I want to get on to the next thing, but people have asked this a couple times. What's your philosophy or approach to the do not call list? Let's answer that real quick, and then we'll move on to pay-per-click. I know you call it.
This is recorded. I guess I'm going to be a little careful. First, I'm going to say I'm not an attorney. Do not take my advice on any of this stuff. My personal opinion, not directing you on what to do. We do not remove the do not call list from our cold call.
If someone you're not technically soliciting. I'm not a lawyer either. That's what I've been told. But if someone says, don't call me back, don't call them back either, especially if they're on that list. But that is a way for them to file a suit with you too. Someone could sue you for anything. So it doesn't mean they're wrong or they're right. So just take that into consideration as well.
Yeah, that's very important. So remember, people can sue you for anything, and it takes a while to get a case out of there. Now, yes, we're not selling, but I also don't want to be the first one standing up in court testing that either. So I prefer somebody else to test that factor about the do not call list. So we're cautious about it. I mean, if someone asks to be removed, like you said, get them removed. Do not call that person again.
And then for you guys that just came on, you're asking some questions, if you text messages. We're going to have this on BatchTV, so make sure to subscribe to BatchTV. We'll have this out on Monday. You guys can watch it as many times as you want. Scott's going to be dropping a lot of gems, but we do need to get on to the next topic. He has so many marketing channels. I'm trying to squeeze this all into an hour. So let's get into your secrets of pay-per-click or PPC, Google Ads. What are we doing there? How are you having success? How can people have success? Because I know that's expensive as well.
PPC is very expensive. So back in 2015, when I started, PPC was 99% of my business.
Me too.
The thing about PPC, so Jesse and I realized back in that day, no joke, we'll turn on PPC. We go on there with a campaign that's brand new and just click on. Dude, people are calling us saying, "Oh, Scott, I want you to buy my house." And I'll say, "I don't want to buy it." And they say, "Please take it." I mean, this is literally what we're getting on PPC at that time. And then all these other companies started coming out there and advertising PPC. And now it's like so much competition that if you don't answer that phone, I could not call the person back in a week back in 2015, and they still want to sell to me. If you don't call someone back in 5 minutes now, they've already gone down the list to the next 10 companies.
Yep.
So PPC, the most important thing, speed to lead. Right?
Yes,
Remember
agreed.
that. Speed to lead. You need to answer those calls. So you need to make sure you have a separate number set up for PPC that you know exactly what it is. And if you miss a direct mail call, you miss a direct mail call. PPC is priority. That needs to come through because someone is calling. Picture this, right? I'm stressed out. I'm sitting at home. I don't know what to do. I'm looking at a leaky roof in my house and I'm like, these repairs have gotten too much. I don't know what to do. I am so stressed out. So stressed that I get my computer, I open it up, I turn it on, I go to, the older people are going to use Bing. The older people are going to go on, because Bing is their default browser on their HP computer. They're going to go on there and they're going to type in, how do I get rid of my house? How do I sell my house fast? And these people are going to find you. They're going to click on your ad. They're going to choose your ad. They're going to click on it. They're going to go to it. They're going to look at your website. They're either going to submit a form or they're going to click to call. That's a lot of effort. If
Yeah.
someone wasn't motivated, they're probably not going through all those steps. Direct mail, they see it in the mailbox and they decide to call or don't.
Right.
Right.
They're doing the outreach, and a few people are saying, how do we set up PPC? What is PPC software? So PPC is pay per click. That is when you're putting ads on Google with keywords. You're bidding on, can I buy your ugly, or I want to sell my ugly house, sell my house fast. You can do this on Bing as well, on Yahoo, wherever. So what you're doing is you're setting up campaigns and you're bidding to go to your website. Someone will fill out their information or they'll call you. But that's why he's saying there's a lot of competition here. This is where Open Door, OfferPad, a lot of the big wholesale companies are. That's why he's saying the importance of having a good website, a good messaging to the customer for them to want to fill out their information, trust to call you and have you help solve their problem. But they're the ones that are actually looking you up, outreaching. That's why these are literally the hottest leads and the most expensive leads.
And if you keep going, there's something called optimizing your campaign. So when you're in PPC, there is everything you have in there is in a campaign. That is what you have going on. Now, as you continue to market, you're going to be optimizing your campaign. What that means is people are searching for keywords, right? We're looking for people to sell my house fast. If someone searches, find a realtor, it's probably not what you want. So you have to go in there and click that when this person searches this, I don't want it to come up on my ad. And as you continuously do that, it takes about 10 minutes a day once your campaign is set up. And as you do that, you're realizing your budget is going further. You could get your cost per lead down to $50, $60 in some cases. And in California, our direct mail cost per lead could be $400 in some cases. So you can get PPC much cheaper, but you have to continuously optimize that campaign to do it. And it takes time. But if you are not available to answer these calls, do not go down that PPC.
Yeah, if you're a part-time person, do not do this. You need to be full-time. You either need to be answering your calls, or if you have a team, make sure your best acquisition or sales rep is on those calls. They're literally hanging up on someone to answer that call. That's how important these calls are.
Absolutely. Or work with, like some people have reached out to us in the past, said, hey, I've got PPC leads. I need you guys to help me work. Or we've even answered a phone number for people in the past.
Yeah, you can do that too.
Yeah. You could do things like that. I mean, there's only so much that we can take on, but find someone in your local market and say, hey, I've got PPC leads that are potentially going to come in. Can you answer it? But make sure it's someone you trust. They could very easily take those leads from you too. Just that has to be live answered, because you really need to get that lead through your system fast in order to be able to close it. Basically, you have to get that customer's problem fixed in the amount of time they scroll down on their computer to the next person and click on it. You've got 10, 15 seconds to take care of it.
Yeah, and you also have to make sure that they like you to where they don't want to go shop someone else. So I worked these leads for a long time. We did nationwide campaigns in 2014, 2015, 2016. We learned that if you don't call back within 1 minute, your chances were like 150% less of actually closing the deal. And that's in the first 60 seconds. And then we figured out the data between 5 minutes and 10 minutes. And it was incredible, because someone else is going to call them and build that rapport. And now they don't want anything to do with you.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's all about you getting in touch with that person, you staying in touch with that person. And here's the thing I see most people mess up. They'll answer the original call, and then they set a plan with that person saying, hey, yeah, Bob, I'll call you Tuesday at 9 a.m. Guess what? They don't call Bob Tuesday at 9 a.m. They call Bob Tuesday at 11 a.m. Well, it just so happens Bob is old school. That's as good as a handshake. You told Bob you would do something. You would call him Tuesday at 9. You call Bob Tuesday at 8:55. That's when you call Bob. And this is such a big mistake. And a lot of it isn't just you forgot. It's being scared or being nervous. I don't know what to say, right? You're younger, you're calling a girl to ask her out for the first time. You're like, oh my God, what do I say on the phone when I call her? Nope, not going to call now. Try again, right? It's the same thing with Bob, right? You're asking Bob out on a date. You want to buy his house. If you tell Bob you are going to call Bob, you call Bob exactly when you say you're going to call him. And that is going to be so important on every single lead source you have. Don't get nervous, because I promise you, if you don't call the person when you say you will, you lose that opportunity versus being nervous on the phone and talking to him. So take the shot. You have to call these meetings.
I agree. Bob needs to know you're a baddie, as the young kids say. They need to know it.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Any marketing you do, it does not matter what channel it is. You call people back. You always call people back.
And
Most important.
let's get to our last marketing channel. And this is actually the one marketing channel that I've never done, so I'm not going to have as much insight because I want to make sure we have some time for some Q&A. Scott Oots is absolutely torching this webinar. So if you guys are getting value out of Scott, throw a 1 in the chat. He took time out of his day to drop gems to you guys. But let's get into this with the TV. I know quite a few friends that are doing this now, so tell me how it's working and how you like it or how you don't like it.
TV. I mean, let's be honest. We can all sit here and act like we don't watch TV. We could all act like we don't. You know, all the big entrepreneurs out there, they always lie and they always say, oh man, TV is a waste of time as they're sitting and watching some stupid show. You know what? I like TV. And I'm going to tell you why I like TV, because it is the way for an entrepreneur to just turn off, put something stupid on, just turn off and reset. Otherwise, you know what I'm going to do? My mind's going to keep running and I'm going to go, oh, I need to send an email to this. Oh, you know, what if I do this for marketing? No, if I turn on some brainless crap, I'm literally going to just zone out and turn off. Now, TV advertising, so TV commercials, right? We've got the ability to skip commercials now. Nobody likes commercials. But a lot of people, the older people that still have standard cable, and I keep mentioning older people because older people are going to be a huge part of your sellers, because these are the people that their houses just got too far. They got their repairs got too far and they just can't take care of it. These are the people that aren't DVRing something. They're not watching Hulu or Netflix. They literally have the commercial playing and they're sitting and watching it. And these people here are the ones that know that when your commercial comes on, that I need to call that company, and they're writing down your phone number, or they're taking note of the company and looking you up online. So TV has become a very, very, very big return. So we started TV about 1.5 years ago. I will say it right now. This is being recorded. So I will say that I believe by the end of 2022, TV will be my #1 marketing channel.
Wow.
By far. I would go as far as saying it will be $1 million more income than any other marketing channel, because it is so good.
It's expensive too, though.
It's expensive. But TV is repetition, right? We have a guy that a lot of people have heard of. He's a big competitor in my market, but also a friend of mine, Doug Hopkins, Seller's Advantage. This guy, I swear, every time I'm sitting somewhere having lunch or something like that, I always hear, I'm Doug Hopkins with Seller's Advantage and I want to buy your house. And I'm like, dude, get out of my area, man. Get out of here. This is mine. But his commercial comes on and it catches my attention every single time. So for our commercial, we added a jingle to the end of it. I always hear this.
What's your jingle?
I was driving. What's that?
What's the jingle?
I'm not going to even try. But I always heard this commercial, and I usually sit in my car in dead silence. It's my time to think. But I had an office that was a little further away, and my radio would be on in my car. And in the morning, I always heard this commercial with a jingle at the end. And it always came on at the same time every single day. And I found that thing getting stuck in my head. And I'd go into the office going, it's an attorney, Sweet James. He's in our area. He advertised all over the place. He's got a jingle at the end of his commercial that literally sits in my head. And I'm like, this thing just will not go away. It's like the song that never ends thing, right? It just will not go away. So I said, man, this is sticking in my head so much. I have to have a jingle at the end of my commercial. So we hired a guy to come in and actually sing a jingle at the end of our commercial.
That's
and
cool.
It gets people right at the end with our company name in the jingle and everything, hoping that it gets that person literally going, I have to call this company. And I remember this company to the point that the next time my commercial comes on, they're sitting there singing the jingle at the end. That's what I want to see people doing. And we are starting to see a huge return with that. And now we're taking our TV commercial, taking the sound from it and putting it on radio. So now we're on TV and radio, and we're able to get a return. We just closed a TV deal this last week, and it was a 6-figure deal on that. And
let's go.
That league cost us somewhere around like $80. and we brought in 6 figures on that. So there is a killer return, but there is a certain point where you're starting out and you become more experienced, where you have a limited budget and you have a larger budget. TV may be a little bit more down the road for you guys, but it is something that will give a killer return, and it's something that not a lot of your competition is really doing.
Yeah, and a question for you, and I know we talked about this offline a little bit. Were you going to be helping people set up TV, or I know that you said you were doing it or you were going to, or I don't remember if you want to let people know if they have any interest in that.
Yeah. So I have a company called the Lead Gen Pros. So we started out primarily as a cold calling company for investors. So we still do that. It's definitely very successful, and people have seen a lot of return. But we'll do cold calling for you. Our newest venture is TV and radio. So we started realizing that we are getting such a large return on this, we had to find a way to help other people do this as well. So we went ahead and started offering the ability to help you guys. We'll run your TV and radio for you guys. We'll buy your TV spots. We will help you create your commercial. Basically, it's an all-in-one service done for you guys. So the Lead Gen Pros is the company name. You can go to theleadgenpros.com. You can give Vicky a call. She's the one that answers everything. If you guys want to call her, make sure you guys tell her I heard about you through Batch. Make sure you say that, because she's got a promo set aside for you guys on all of our services. Just make sure you guys say that. That way you guys get a killer deal on some things. We're not high pressure sales. Vicky's one of the sweetest people you ever meet. We don't want to force customers to services. If you're ready, you're ready. If you're not ready, great. Call us when you are.
Sound like me.
Should I do a jingle now?
You sure should. Anything else you could think of on TV? If they're going to go try and do it on their own, what steps would you have someone to do for TV or radio if they wanted to maybe dabble in that? What does a budget look like? Give a little bit more information on kind of the nitty gritty.
Yeah, I mean, depending on your market, because I'm in Southern California, it's a little more populated than some of the other areas. So your budget's typically going to have to be a little bit larger. If you go to a smaller county, I mean, you can spend as little as $1,500, $2,000 a month on TV. But the thing about TV isn't what you spend; it's where your ads are placed. And you're going to need someone to help you place those ads. You can call your local TV companies and see if they can help you out. But the thing is we tested 3 different companies with TV prior to just hiring my own person. I snagged somebody from a very large company that does real estate investing, and he does all of our placements. He knows, like, we could go advertise in the Super Bowl, right? I mean, that'd be expensive. We can go advertise it, but that's not our clientele. They're there to watch the Super Bowl. We need to figure out, how do we get our ads in front of somebody? The TV shows they're watching that relate to our customers. And a lot of times it is older customers. So you are looking at news, you are looking at things like that. They're really curious what's going on. So we test on different markets. We split test all the time. We've tested ESPN. We're not getting what we want from that, right? You're getting something more. You could even get it Hallmark Channel or something like that. You need to have your commercials in a place where your customers are potentially watching. And it is very difficult to do. That's why I have somebody else doing this for me, because, I said, I'm not someone to do this. I don't have time for this. So they place it, they buy it. But if you want to do it yourself, call your local TV station, talk to them, plan on potentially burning through some money in the beginning, just like any marketing channel, because you have to be able to see what the return is on each of those channels.
So sounds like they should use you instead of testing. Use someone that knows what they're doing.
I'm not going to sit here and hard sell anyone, but I would say that we have burned through enough money. I mean, if I look at every marketing channel I've done, I've burned through millions in wasted marketing. So the thing is, there's people that have burned through way more than I have. But if you take advice from people like us, so we can say, don't do this, don't screw this up, don't go down that road. We can help you potentially from wasting a lot of money. So that's what we want to do. But yes, people are successful on their own. Try it yourself if you want. If it doesn't work, come to us and we can help you out.
I just feel like this is an avenue to where you're going to save time and money by working with someone that knows what they're doing. that's why, you know, a lot of people use agencies to cold call for them. There's a lot of reasons to, if you have the right people to help you that truly care, and I know the type of person you are, where we are friends, we do talk on a regular basis, and I know genuinely you just want people to win too. That's why I think we get along so well. So I would recommend using them, and I don't do any type of TV. I just know what type of person Scott is and what type of business he runs. So that's my endorsement. That's why I brought him on the show. Is he has so much value to give. I mean, when I was just getting started, this dude was on stages. So he's been around for a while. He really knows what he's doing. And since we really think he knows what he's doing, it's Q&A time. So let's put him under the fire a little bit and see how much he really does know.
Let's go. I love it.
So anyone, put your questions in the Q&A. I think we have some from the beginning. Let me scroll up here. Oh, this was a good one we never touched on. Do you have a real estate license to get paid to refer leads to real REI agents? So there's two ways to do this. One, you could just sell leads to people, and then if they close them or don't close them, that's not a referral. They're not paying you on a sale. You could actually just sell leads to people. Or if you want some type of commission cut, then you're going to have your license too, and then they could pay you and you could work out an agreement with them. Am I missing anything on that, Scott?
There's a different way that we do it, kind of option 3.
Okay.
So keep in mind, remember I said we're a marketing company. That's what we do. We're lead generation. So what we're doing is we're actually generating leads for these real estate agents. So these real estate agents can pay us for our services for generating a lead for them. So what we do is they give us back a percentage of their commission, but I invoice them for sending out postcards. So I'll invoice them if the commission is 10 grand and our postcards cost us 35 cents. I'll invoice for X amount of postcards equaling 10 grand, because that postcard did generate that lead. So they are my client, and I am now marketing for them, and they have the ability to pay me back that way without being licensed.
Makes sense. Someone asked, how does SMS work now with Batch Lead since it requires Plivo or Twilio? It's still the same thing. You're just connecting with one of those providers. You still get all your KPIs. You're just managing your phone numbers and paying Twilio or Plivo directly instead of us. So that's the only difference. Our account was way too large. They've cracked down with carriers, and you know, it's on you guys to manage your stuff. We did that while we could, and now it's something that you guys have to manage. It's not easier. It's actually cheaper. So it's good for you guys, and you get to keep track of the reputation of your phone numbers and all the things and sending out your text messages. Someone also asked, why can you only send 1,000 text messages? We do that to protect you. If you guys send out too many text messages, you're going to get shut down or spammed. So we could let you send 100,000 a day, but you're instantly going to get shut down. We've done a lot of research and a lot of data checking to figure out, you know, what can you guys do? And for the people that want to send more than 1,000 messages, that's why we have our data management and our list. You have to get more creative. You have to niche down. You have to think of it as targeted marketing now, to where you're really looking for those diamonds in the rough, or you're really knowing what type of distress indicators you're going to go after and do that. This is not a pray and spray type of thing anymore. The carriers will not allow you to do that. So you have to pivot. You're always pivoting your business. So make sure you get ahead of the curve. Be better than the people that are doing it right next to you, and you're going to get deals. Target those right people that have distressed indicators. It's that simple. I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Scott.
No, I think you pretty much nailed it. I mean, with text is one of those things that you have to, so I know a lot of people that try to send 1,000 at once, right? They'll just click and get through 1,000 of them. But the thing is that's also a speed to lead thing. If you do not respond to someone quickly, you will lose that lead. So don't send 1,000 at once. Click to send like 50 text messages and then wait like 30 to 60 seconds, then send like another 50. You need to make sure you have time to respond to these quickly. And if you wait too long, that person's already moved on to something else.
And then for you guys that are doing this yourself or cold calling, advice I have for you is you can just send out, 50, 100 text messages an hour while you're cold calling. You're able to multitask. Or if you have acquisition reps that's what they're doing, is they're doing outbound lead generation. Have them send texts while they're cold calling, because they're just sitting there on the phone waiting for a conversation. Let them engage in some new conversations. Texting is not going to be your biggest avenue, but there's still deals in there. Your cost per deal is still going to be the cheapest, but it is a tool of your marketing channel. A lot of people had that for their only marketing channel. That's not how it is anymore. Carriers put in new requirements and new laws. Pivot, but pivot properly. If people say it doesn't work, just like they said that with direct mail, that just means you have a bigger advantage to less people texting. It's out there. You have to have the right mindset on how to think about your business and how to get deals.
Maybe I should tell you all direct mail doesn't work. That way you don't do it and mine continues to perform.
Is Scott in his commercial, or is it an actor? So is it you doing it, or is someone acting for you?
It is not me in it. We thought about that. My team thought it'd be a good idea for branding, but we actually hired an actor. So we've tried a couple different actors in our commercials to split test. We tried a Hispanic female in the commercial. We've tried an African American male. We haven't tried the standard white guy that you got right here. So I don't know. We're split testing to see what the different return is on them. But honestly, I mean, I'd rather just farm that out. I don't need to be in my commercial, and honestly, I have no desire to really be in my commercial.
Gotcha. That makes sense. If you had $1,000 and needed to make a deal happen in 90 days or less, what strategy would you use? That's a great question.
Honestly, if you have $1,000 and that is the difference between potentially paying your rent or not, don't spend it all on marketing. I mean, I'd get out there and door knock, drive for dollars, start knocking on some of those doors, because that is such a cheap source. Well, I mean, gas is pretty expensive now, but overall, it's a pretty cheap source. So I would get out there and start knocking on some doors. Maybe pull yourself a small list and just start cold calling, just so you can start getting some of those people going. But don't go and start direct mail with $1,000. I mean, you're gonna burn through it on one or two mailings. You're not going to be able to keep going on it. So definitely keep door knocking and cold calling.
I would definitely. I think those are the two best ways. And then you could also drive for dollars. So you could create the list, cold call it. As I said, batch leads, lists and data, and the whole platform's pretty cheap. You could pull a list, but like be specific with what you're pulling. And when you pull a list, you don't have to skip trace it. So you could niche down and pull a bunch of different little things you just have to be very targeted. You have to pick a strategy. Like, who are you comfortable talking to? This is what people don't talk about. Are you more comfortable talking to another real estate investor? Then go after absentee owners, go after landlords. Or do you want to talk to someone that has the vacant property? Are you good at that? Like RJ Bates, all he does is go talk to real estate investors, and he gets like 60 deals a month, because those are the type of people he likes to work with. You need to figure out what's best for you too. It's not how someone else is doing doesn't mean that's the way that you're going to run your company. And a lot of people think, what's the best list? This has been the most asked question today. The best list is the best list for you. It's you trying and testing a bunch of different things. How do you like to sell? How do you talk to people? What fits you, or what fits the culture that your team is and how they sell? So there's a lot more that goes into it than what's the best list. You should test all different types of lists and figure out what's the best list for you, and stop asking people for advice on trying to get to the fast answer, because it normally doesn't work.
Well, you nailed something there that is really important. And just like in sales, right? If I was trying to learn sales from someone, so Steve Trang's a great sales trainer out there. If I was trying to learn sales from him, I can't go be Steve. Right? I'm taking bits and pieces from what Steve's doing, and I'm being myself, but I'm making myself better based on what Steve taught. And if we look at what you guys are learning right now, I'm telling you guys what's working for me. I go to lots of masterminds, and I'll tell you what, other guys in other markets have things that work for me that are not working for them, and vice versa. So make sure you guys aren't just dropping what you're doing and trying to follow my business model, because it's not going to make you succeed just because I said it. So remember that everyone has a different business, a different strategy, a different way of doing things, a different way of answering phones. We do things quite differently. So test things on your own to make sure that you're finding what is the best return on your investment and your best time spent.
And then a lot of people keep asking this because Scott's just dropping gems. This is recorded. Go to BatchTV and subscribe. It will be there Monday. So we'll have this whole recording. You can watch it whenever you want. We have a bunch of great videos. It shows you how to use our products and actually do all the things that I'm talking about on this webinar. the people that are doing these videos know the product better than I do, and I'm the CEO of the company. Like, they know the nitty gritty, all of our new features, all the things to help you guys have success. Go subscribe to BatchTV, guys. It's absolutely epic. And then I'm not going to be able to get to all these guys. We have about 5 minutes left, and I have to honor Scott's time commitments to what he has going on. So let me just choose a few more. If you had to choose between cold calling and texting, which would you choose? The answer is both. Do both. Don't do one or the other. Do both. Let me get one for you, Scott. They had a question for you. What is a good price for a lead sale? So selling leads to realtors, what's a good price, or what are you doing there?
So for us, we're always trying to get back 30% of their commission. We don't try to go 50. We've got realtors that offer us 50 all the time. I want them to have enough skin in the game. They want to work the deal. So we take back 30%. But if you're selling the lead, there's an option where you could throw up a quick website where you sell the lead, each lead to like 3 realtors for like $350 each. You could do something like that if you wanted to. I know a lot of guys that are doing that. You just have to make it clear that lead is sold to 3 people. You could do that, but ultimately for me, I like the commission aspect of it, but you have to be able to trust the realtor you're doing business with to make sure that they are actually paying you. So it's nice when you just sell the lead because you just get the money right away, whether it closes or not. The other part takes a little bit more action on our part to manage, but we also get back a larger return.
And then I'm also excited to announce before we go, we're going to have a newsletter dropping every single month, and there's going to be a lot of great content. So you guys check your emails, make sure to open it. Really, really valuable stuff. And then let's take one last question, Scott. I don't know if you're able to read any of these or not. Someone asked to please share the URL for Lead Gen Pros. You guys, that's somewhere in the chat. It's been shared a few times. And then just give me a second here. I want to pick a good one. Okay, I like this one. If you had, this is from Nigel. If you had $5,000 a month to market, what would you do starting out? So that's actually a pretty good marketing budget, $5,000. I want to hear what you have to say because I have some thoughts to this one.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm going to give you my advice, but it doesn't necessarily mean that's the direction you go. I still stick with the cold calling and texting in a lot of cases because your money can go so far. As you're starting out, the biggest thing isn't just your marketing budgets. It's that you have so much to learn. So you have to remember that you're going to waste so many leads as you first get started. So I would say start with that texting and cold calling, but be consistent at texting and cold calling. If you want to try to take a very niche list and try to send a nice letter to it or something, you could do that. Like you could take a trustee sale, send more of a heartfelt, pull at the heartstrings type of letter to these people. But I'm not talking about 10,000 of these. I'm talking about maybe sending 300 of these. Try something like that as well if you wanted to. But ultimately, I'm still going to say stick with your cold calling and your texting.
Yeah, and that's where you could also, if you have $5,000, I would do both of those things, but get creative. Do door knocking. You could actually if you get a really niche list, spend the time and do 50 handwritten letters and put them on their door. The things that people aren't willing to do is where you'll have the most success. What are you willing to do that all the other people in this industry aren't willing to do? Ask yourself that question, figure out how to do that, make sure that there's some time effectiveness to that, track it, and then keep trying new things. But Scott's completely right, is be creative. I'm not saying, texting and calling, obviously we provide those and those are great things, but that's not the only thing that you should be doing. And don't ask people, what should I text or what should I call? You need to test things. You need to try things in your market. You have to be, if you're going to be truly successful in this business, you have to take ownership. You have to be creative. You have to try some things. Obviously listen to people, but you should always be testing new little ways to make your business better, not asking everyone what else is working. Find that secret sauce that no one else has and hold on to it and expose it until other people find out about it. But there's so many different ways to be successful, but you have to get creative and you have to be the one that's doing that, or else you're probably not going to make it if you're not willing to do those things. I've talked to a lot of people who I've seen at the beginning of their journey, and the biggest thing is if you're always asking for help and wanting things, you're probably not going to make it because you it's hard to sustain that. And it's not a true business owner. They're going to find out and figure out the way to do it, not always expect someone to tell them the answer.
Mhm. Absolutely. And, we can look at Larry's comment right here. I love this because he's pushing back on what I said. And I absolutely respect this 100%. So he said, no, $350 my butt for selling the leads. So absolutely right, Larry. I mean, 350 is what I'm throwing out. Each market's a little bit different. So if you go to some small Midwest market, you may be able to sell leads for that. California, I can probably sell those leads for $1,500, $2,000 in some cases. So every market's going to be different with that. Like for me, that's why I like the commission percentage back, because by doing that, I mean, we're getting thousands of dollars back for the closed deal. So I like that side of it, but everyone can do it differently. So I love the pushback on that, because always push back on something you don't agree with, and maybe get a different result.
And then again, thank you. We need to wrap up for coming on, Scott. How do they get a hold of you on social media? Any last thoughts that you want to give to the audience?
So definitely you guys can get a hold of me on social media, at the Scott Oots. It's there in the chat as well. So definitely reach out. I mean, we do some cool stuff. I just did an intensive a couple weeks ago, kind of opening my business and sharing it. We'll do a couple more of those this year as well. But I mean, ultimately, you guys don't give up. I mean, the thing is, I go to so many masterminds, I go to so many events, and I see so many people that keep coming back to the same events, and they've gotten no further than they were before. But the thing we realized with those people is they became burnt out, and they're not pushing themselves any further. So definitely, like, I mean, you guys look at this chat, look at all these people in this chat that are doing a similar business. Connect with these people, because these are the people that are going to help you. You guys are going to drive each other to get to the next level. So talk to all these people, all these phone numbers in here, call them, because these are the people that you can say, hey, I'm running into a problem. You guys can call someone together and try to help each other out. You said squat up, right? I mean, that's one thing Pace Morby has done really well. He's been able to get people to say, hey, you don't need to always talk to me. You can literally together as a group come up with what you guys think you can do. You can help each other through problems. You can help people get to the next level. So you can choose what you want to do, whether you want to try once, fail, and give up, or whether you want to try once, go back, think about what you did, try again, and just keep that cycle going. Because I'll tell you what, I sucked on my first deal. It was $4,000 deal that I made, and I still talk about it. I was literally shaking. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And now my business this year is hopefully going to approach $10 million. I mean, you look at that and say, from 2015 to today, that's where I got. Now you got to decide, do you want to get there, or do you want to just go ahead and say, you know what? I knocked on that door and that Karen shoved the door in my face. So I went and got back in my car. I went home, I sat on my couch, and I watched TV.
Yeah,
That's the choice you make. Do you try again, or do you give up? Don't
absolutely.
give up.
And then before we hop off, for all you people that use our products, we appreciate your support greatly. This is how I'm able to do these webinars and give back to you guys. We will continue to innovate and give you guys the best products available. We truly, truly appreciate all the people that support us. And as I always say, until next time, let's get it. Scott, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate your time, and I look forward. And you guys, just remember, we do this every single month. Look out for next month's webinar. I'll have another big, great guest to add value, just like Scott did today.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.